Okay, James, I know there's a lot of line out there on the market, and again, I get lost quite easily. Take this Trilene XL float. What does £8 and this 0.25mm mean?
Right, okay Andy, you are right. I mean, it is confusing. There's a vast array of different lines, braids and monos on the market. But to answer your question, the £8 relates to the breaking strain of the line. So under pressure, that line will actually snap at around about £8 tension. So you get different breaking strains lines from down to £half a pound up to £100, depending on the situation that you're fishing in.
Okay.
Then the diameter, so there's 0.025mm, is the actual diameter of the line. So obviously that relates to the application that you're using in. A thin line with a low breaking strain, you're going to be typically catching smaller fish. If you're going to catch bigger fish, you're going to need a line with a bigger diameter and a higher breaking strain. Just to help simplify things a bit more, Andy, you can roughly categorise line into 4 different groups. Okay, you've got the braids and super lines that are quite specific in their use and in benefits. They don't stretch. So where you're fishing at range or where you want increased sensitivity, super lines and braids are the way forward. You've got your standard monos, and it's important to realise that you get different densities with different mono lines. For example, this feeder line sinks, whereas this float line, as you'd expect, floats. So you've got different densities to think about when you're buying a mono. The third category is quite a new category, but also very important, which is fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon is quite unique in that it's almost invisible in water, and it has other attributes that can be an advantage, such as the line is stiff. Okay. So it's not so supple. It's also got less stretch in it when compared to a normal mono. So in certain circumstances, fluorocarbon is a very, very important line to use. And then the final category is what we tend to call high-tech line, which is a modern line used for pole fishing and typically for match fishing that goes right down to low diameters, but it still gives you a relatively high breaking strain. In most cases, these lines are actually pre-stretched. It's a lot of information that you don't really need to know at the moment. And what I would say to you, Andy, is stick to monos, right? Stick to a mono such as this Trilene XL, which is a very good all-purpose mono. And I think for fishing today on a lake like this, float fishing and feeder fishing, £4 line is going to be around about the best bet for us to start with.
Brilliant. I've just got one more question, James. I notice on here there's different colours of line. Is there any reason behind that?
Again, it is an important thing to think about. Colour will have an impact on the style and the conditions that you're faced when you're fishing. Now, clear line is very, very good when obviously the water's clear, because it's not going to be so obvious in the water. But there's also different times when you want to use a different coloured line, such as a darker brown line like this one, where the water's not so clear and actually the line can blend into the surroundings. So again, it's more of a technical issue. When you get a bit more specialised, you might like to dictate the colour of the line to the environment that you're fishing in. And also if you want to see the line. So you'll see some bright fluorescent lines where you actually want to be able to spot the line in the water when you're fishing. Let's keep it simple, Andy. Stick to this Trilene XL, clear, £4.
Brilliant. Thanks, James. Now I'm hooked on fishing.